Welcome on to Three's a Crowd. It's just two of us today, so we're doing the best we can, but we have got a special little intro. Welcome on into Three's a Crowd. My name is Rai, aka Invictus, and I am joined by the one and the only Ted the Mackem. Good morning to you, Teddy boy.
Good morning, sunshine. Somebody let the young person near the music this morning, didn't they?
I got away from the trumpets finally. They've been ruining my ears for the last, 16 shows or whatever.
Mate, that's a brass band I played in as a kid. You can't be saying that, like. Yes. And to be fair, most of them are police officers as well.
Yeah. Okay, I figured.
Enjoy your trip when you do make
it. Welcome on to Three's a Crowd, where we speak every week on Sunderland, Newcastle, and Middlesbrough. We're normally joined by Steve Wraith, but he is absent today, so we will do his best in his honour. We have got a voice message from him, and we will be covering some Newcastle stuff as well. They obviously take on Brentford later today. But we have got a big show ahead of you today. We've got a lot of news coming out of Middlesbrough, a lot of news coming out of Sunderland that's going to take some precedence. But obviously, it's the Middlesbrough one that's probably taken center stage, I would say, this week with the Rob Edwards departure. We're going to get Ted's thoughts on that. We have got a little bit of troll of the week as well. It's not the professional troll of the week. And I told Teddy I didn't have it organized, but I did get it organized. I wanted to get him on the surprise. So we have got a bit of troll of the week as well. Make sure as well, if you are following at Invictus or at Ted the Mackem, you hit the like button and subscribe. It's the only way that we can grow the podcast. And we love each and every one of you for being here today. And we will get some fans' questions as well from the comments if we have time. We will be finishing a little bit before 11 a.m. this morning just for remembrance. So we will cut the show short, but we have got a special little remembrance ceremony at the end of the show as well. And we thank those that have served and continue to serve to protect our countries all around this beautiful world of ours. Let's kick it off with Middlesbrough, because it's Rob Edwards, mate, that's hot on everyone's lips. It's been an absolute disastrous, let's say 48 hours, Teddy boy, kicking in from yesterday. Rob Edwards on Thursday. The timeline like this, mate, and I'll give you the background knowledge of what I knew. So on Thursday afternoon, Rob Edwards was called into Steve Gibson's office and asked, "Are you committed to Middlesbrough FC, even given the rules rumours?" He said, "I am 100% committed to this job and to this club." Overnight, something happened. Friday morning, he's no longer committed 100% to Middlesbrough FC, and he now wants the Wolves job. He's then suspended from taking any training. He is called in with the chief executives, and then it is decided around 4 p.m. Friday afternoon that Rob Edwards will be relieved of his duties, or I guess given the chance to go and speak with Wolves, which he has done so. It now believed that, as the club put out a statement, it is now believed that Wolves and Middlesbrough have come to an agreement, and that Rob Edwards will be the new manager of Wolverhampton Wanderers in the Premier League. Middlesbrough were galvanised, I must say, Teddy boy, but let's just go to you, mate. First and foremost, you obviously have to follow some Middlesbrough news through gritted teeth, because I send it down your WhatsApp group as much as I can. But tell me your initial thoughts, mate, to hearing this news come through. I mean, I was raging come Friday.
There's so many parallels here, mate, to the situation that Sunderland had with Alex Neil. All right, Alex Neil got us promoted the season before, and the relationship with Rob Edwards is even newer with Middlesbrough than what ours was with Alex Neil. So that's the bizarre thing. I can't, for the life of me, look, I know he's from that neck of the woods. I get that. But I can't for the life of me understand why he'd want to leave a club that's on the up and looking like they're heading towards the Premier League to join a club that very much is absolutely stinking the Premier League out and clearly on their way down. There's absolutely no way they're recovering from that this season. West Ham are the only one out of that original bottom three from the start of the season that look like they're going to get out of it. Wolves have lost their best players. It looks like the ownership is under serious questions from the fan base. Yes, Rob Edwards would be a popular choice there because of his history there. I know he's coached just about every level in Wolves. And of course, he played about 100 and odd games for them as well. But it's just more proof again that there's absolutely zero loyalty. How you can go in a job and commit to a long-term plan, which I know Steve Gibson does. Let's remove the joke and about like sort of me Ribbenborough and all that sort of thing just for a minute. Steve Gibson is a planner. He's done right and what he perceived as being right by Middlesbrough all throughout his tenure. He might not have had every single fan agreeing with him, but his integrity for that club remains very much intact. He would never want to disrespect it in any way. To have a manager come in for 3 months, look like, great start and all that kind of thing. He wasn't the most popular choice when he got put in charge, but he galvanised the squad and he managed to put an impressive start of the season together. But after 3 months, I'm sorry, but what does that say about to any future employer? Because he ain't going to last long at Wolves. Let's be honest, because he will take them down. He's not going to save them. He's going to have that, the ex-player thing where it's a fall from grace. He ain't going to be the Wolves manager next season. That's no shadow of a doubt. Where does he go after that, where people are going to take him seriously? Because what's the point in giving him a contract if he's just going to do, the obvious and do what our friend Chris down at Sheffield did and just look for the first better job that comes along, perceived to be better job. I must say that the Wolves job is not a better job than the Borough job. I'll absolutely guarantee you that. So I think it's this whole snake behaviour. I know that gets used quite a lot in social media. Social media. Yeah. Mate, I had quite a few John Smiths last night. I'm not exactly fluent. Listen, to turn around and say, and Liam's exactly right to say to say it's his dream job and all that sort of thing. He's absolutely full of pepper, mate. It's disgusting to drop a club like that that's going in the right direction with the right sort of fan base, with the right kind of backing, the right attitude towards the football, a good squad. And he's just making himself look an absolute prat for any future employer. Very, very disappointed. I hope you get somebody decent in who can actually maintain the start. Really, really happy for you lads that you got the win yesterday, because I think even the guy in charge of the Borough social media was saying, he knows what it means to score, and to be part of the Borough faithful. Disgusted at Rob Edwards, but not surprised, mate.
Yeah, ultimately. No, I mean, the couple of things obviously we need to talk about, and I want to address it. Obviously, firstly, let's get up the statement. This is Middlesbrough FC yesterday saying Middlesbrough Football Club have, subject to the completion of agreement with Wolverhampton Wanderers, given Coach Rob Edwards permission to speak to Wolves. We initially rejected an approach from Wolves on the basis that Rob signed a 3-year contract with MFC less than 6 months ago. It's dangerous saying 6 months as well. It wasn't even there. Following discussions with Rob, we were disappointed to learn that he wanted to speak to Wolves regarding their head coach vacancy. We have now agreed terms with Wolves, subject to the completion of relevant paperwork. First team coaches Adi Vivesh and Harry Watling and academy manager Craig Little will take charge of team affairs for Saturday's game against Birmingham, in which they did. Now, I want to take your notice to this, Teddy boy. That is a statement released by Middlesbrough yesterday. This is mere 2 years ago when Rob Edwards left Forest Green Rovers to join Watford. Forest Green Rovers confirmed the departure of head coach Rob Edwards and assistant head coach Richie Kyle. Rob and Richie were a key part of the team that gained promotion to League One this season. We're disappointed that our support, loyalty and honesty towards Rob has been repaid in this way, with negotiations taking place behind our backs. We had no contact from Watford, from whom we might expect less, but in any event, this kind of behaviour gives football a bad name. We thank Rob for all his work at Forest Green Rovers, forgive him in the manner of his departure and wish him well. I mean, Teddy, there's parallels in both of those. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some sort of, you can see a systemic sort of thing now with Rob.
As my mother always used to say, mate, throw enough shit and some will stick. I used to beg that we could just get a PlayStation like everybody else, but no, he's starting to get that reputation. That tells you everything you need to know. Now, I know Forest Green Rovers are like a historical vegan club, but to be honest, that tells you everything you need to know about his character. If he's willing to stoop to that level and go behind people's backs, no manager or player will ever be bigger than any club.
Amen.
That's a categorical fact. And we've lost good players, we've lost good managers at Sunderland. Borough have, Newcastle as well. You only have to look at the Merseyside rat to see that with Newcastle as well. So listen, we've all seen it, but our clubs are still there, right? And the clubs will go on. To be honest, it might be a blessing in disguise for Borough, because this will galvanise, and whoever comes in next is going to have a squad that's completely united and pushing for promotion still. So tell our Rob, don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out.
Exactly my thoughts as well. Just finally as well, before we talk about it in depth, I wanted to show you this as well. This is from Jay Percy of the Telegraph, who said Middlesbrough accused Wolves of breaking Premier League rules over their move for head coach Rob Edwards. Borough had made a statement towards the Telegraph saying, unfortunately, Wolves have behaved in standards less than we expect, and we believe their conduct is in breach of Premier League regulations. So, look, there is some sort of legal ramifications here potentially for Wolves as well, because as I said to you, and you kind of make sense without sort of, knowing exactly what happened. Thursday afternoon, as I said to you, he was 100% committed. Come Friday morning, something has happened in that mere 12 hours, space of, yes, I'm 100% committed to, no, I want to go to Wolves. So
until he had a phone call, allegedly.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? So, and that's what sort of, stinks as well, is that there has been some sort of, foul play. And it does look like it's been reported. A lot more to play out on that as it comes to, legal stuff. And I don't want to take on Steve Gibson. I don't think anyone would want to take on Steve Gibson in a legal battle. We all know how that worked out Derby County back in the day. My thoughts on Rob is that he's a snake. It's the hardest thing for me is that, just a mere couple of weeks ago, Teddy boy, and you might not be privy to this, but we lost to Portsmouth, and we had Morgan Whittaker brought off around the 60th minute, and he was booed. He was booed because he'd played poorly, and the Borough fans, got into him, and rightly so, because they were frustrated. And I'm not saying it's right that we boo them, and but we never take it any further than that. It's simply in the moment we were unhappy with the performances we were seeing in front of our eyes. So anyway, Rob Edwards after the game came out and said that he doesn't want to see that because we are a family, we stick together, and we need to look after each other. Now, 4 weeks later, Teddy boy, we are no longer a family, and he's walked out on said family. So it made me think, who else talks a lot about family? And I think it's all led to this. I think it is Rob Edwards, Fast and Furious 11. Thoughts? Rob Edwards, Fast and Furious 11. That's what I reckon is going to happen.
And everybody's furious. So.
The only other man to talk about family as much as Rob Edwards is Vin Diesel from bloody Fast and Furious series, mate, and he's out there too.
We're a family, but he's done the dad thing of leaving to go and get some milk, and we never see him again. Yeah.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Look,
he's a typical Wolverhampton dad. Let's put it that way.
Look, and there is some sort of. If you put a level head on, there is some. He's obviously going home. His family live just 2 kilometers or so from the stadium. He grew up in Wolverhampton. He played for Wolverhampton. There is that going home factor. He's quadrupled his salary as well. So money does talk as well. At the end of the day, he's on 4 times his salary. But to do it 3 months into a current job, to walk away from everything that he's been slating over the past month and so about being a family and being in it together and all that sort of stuff. And I feel for Adi Vivesh and Harry Watling, the 2 coaches he brought in as well. That is really disappointing. They took charge yesterday. I thought Adi Vivesh spoke really well after the game. He was very controlled in his statements. He didn't speak or poorly of Rob or bring him in by name. But you could tell he was disappointed and he was frustrated, and he was commenting how it was an interesting 48 hours or so where the bloke that brought you in to work with is no longer there, and he's walked out to get a new job. So I think it's unfair on Addy and Harry as well to label them in sort of the similar manner. Let's get on to the result with Birmingham. Middlesbrough then had to rock up again at 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon at Riverside Stadium and take on Birmingham in what was an absolute fantastic display of a galvanized team and a galvanized fan base, Teddy boy. We sold something like 4,000 to 5,000 tickets within the time frame of us announcing that Rob wouldn't be obviously the head coach, and everything had been gone down to the point where they kicked off. And you could see it was all the fans just getting there to support the players and support the current coaching staff because we needed to. And one thing that Rob Edwards has, I don't know if he's done it in a reverse sort of situation, is he's always spoken about family and galvanizing. Well, he's galvanized us through pure hatred of the man. And we've all come together. I was saying this yesterday on my live watch along. I'm speaking to Borough fans that I've never spoken to out of pure hatred for Rob. Do you know what I mean? And we're making new friends. I mean, just through the hatred of one man. So he's had a very good effect in bringing us all together to hate one man. I must say that. And one thing that I do notice as well is that it was an emphatic response from the Red faction, obviously our main fan group and stuff like that. They had gone and sprayed over Better Together, a poster that Rob had put up when he first moved in. They had spray painted over that and said without Rob Edwards. I mean, there was little comments and motions all around the ground, but it turned out to be a fantastic performance. And what was incredible as well, Teddy Boy, it was goals from Dale Fry and goals from Hayden Hackney that would get Middlesbrough over the line. Damara Gray would get a goal on the 29th minute, Middlesbrough finishing at 2-1. And it was a fantastic performance of bringing a team together, players that have obviously, and I don't know if this has affected the players as much as it has affected the fans. We are connected to Rob Edwards a lot more than the players are, by that you would think. I mean, he's obviously their coach. He sees them day to day, but everything that we have from a club is through a coach. You get a lot of all the info you get is through Regis Labrie. We get it through Rob. Do you know what I mean? And we're connected to the club through Rob because he's the face of the interviews and the press conferences and everything like that. And the players somehow managed to come up yesterday with a fantastic performance, and to see two local grown talents as well in Dale Fry and Hayden Hackney get the 2 goals as well, just emphasize that Teessider spirit as well, which was a fantastic performance. Birmingham were coming at us in the last sort of 10 minutes or so, but we were able to close the doors, mate, and hold on for a 2-1 win, in which I think was there's been some memorable victories on the Riverside, but Teddy Boy, this one for me, in considering the circumstances, this was I'd have to say my top 3 now.
Yeah. Well, mate, you look at performances like that where, the manager's gone 24 hours before that, still very much up in the air because there's still not a contract signed. Can you imagine how awkward that'll be if all of a sudden the negotiations break down? Please. Because that just doesn't bear thinking about. That'd be superb.
Please.
But I think any decent manager and Borough have got options. Let me make that very clear. There are options out there for managers who will do a good job at Middlesbrough. And I think any prospective Borough manager watching that performance yesterday will want to be in and involved with that to show, when you were going for promotion, it's not just about playing good football. There were times when we didn't play good football last season.
Yeah.
It's about scrapping. It's about getting results by whatever means necessary. Yeah, all right. Birmingham did throw the kitchen sink proverbially at you in the last 10 minutes. You held on. You held on for it, and you dug out a great 3 points, which gets you back into second place. I think there'll be a load of managers out there. One that will come up probably in the next week or two. I think Marco Silva will probably end up leaving Fulham, but he's a very, very good coach. Somebody like him. I think I've just got an inkling the Borough will go for a foreign manager this time around. And try and emulate something of the success that Karanka had. I just have a feeling, but a lot of managers will be watching that, mate, just licking their lips, just wanting to get involved with that squad because there's talented players there, without a doubt. And when that squad is injury-free, they're more than a handful for anybody in the Championship. That's absolutely for certain.
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously a galvanising performance, and one that I think, we're going to have a tough opponent. I mean, Birmingham are coming off 2 4-0 wins in coming up to the Riverside. They have been not performing as well away from their home ground, but coming to the Riverside in what was an emphatic response from the fans. It must have felt like an absolute coliseum, and Middlesbrough holding on to a 2-1 victory there that sees us finish second again heading into this another international break, which is frustrating for everyone. But I think it gives us obviously time again. We talk about this a lot, don't we, Teddy Boy, when we say, is the international break good for our club? Has it come at a good time? Well, I don't know. I mean, we're galvanized. We've got this seething hatred, but it now gives the club time, I guess, to go and find that appointment. And what comes next for, in terms of coaching. The best thing we saw yesterday was Adi Vivesh. Adi Vivesh was now this is interesting one as well, because Adi Vivesh was actually appointed by Middlesbrough. He wasn't actually appointed by Rob Edwards. Adi was sought out, and I think he was someone that was going to be appointed to Michael Carrick, when Michael Carrick said no and walked away from the job, because they wanted a senior figure, someone that had a lot of experience behind them. They thought that Michael Carrick was in sort of, in some ways, you need someone in a championship team knows and has been around. And Adi Vivesh is that, thoroughly. And Adi, I thought yesterday spoke fantastically after the game, saying this to BBC Sport. I've been in the game for a long time. It's not my first rodeo. When I was asked by the club if I'd stand up and lead, I said, yeah, no problem. It's been a roller coaster. I'll enjoy a glass of red tonight. It's been a really great day for unity, resilience, and togetherness. That's what this town and football club represents. Our fans were so loud. They're incredible and immense. I've not really heard a noise like that, and I've been involved in some pretty big games. I want to say thank you. There's a lot to look forward to at this fantastic football club. Now, whether Addy's going to be involved, I think that will be left up to whoever the new coach is. If the new coach has his own assistants and all this sort of stuff, then maybe Addy and Harry lose out by virtue, which is a shame because I think Adi Vivesh is an absolute asset to Middlesbrough Football Club. And you can see yesterday.
He's well regarded, mate. Surely you've got to keep him in some capacity there at the club.
I hope so, mate. I hope so, and I think he's suited well to our club because what we've learned as well is that we need someone that, and I've said this as well, is I want someone now that's no frills. I don't want a young manager that's going to come in and try and sell us the love story and everything like that. I just want someone like Addy that's going to give it to us straight. Yeah, it's a crap situation, but we're moving on. Do you know what I mean? Yes, he's not played well. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? But just someone that isn't going to fluff it, because Rob Edwards was a fluffer, and I tell you what, he could sell a pyramid scheme of encyclopedias. Can I not say that? Yeah?
do you know what a fluffer is, right?
It's different, mate. You know what I mean? He sells a product. You know, he sells a product. He walks around and he's a good salesman, and I think that's all I need to say on the matter. Teddy boy, we need to move on because we've got to talk about Sunderland as well. I've spent the first part of the show talking about Middlesbrough. Sunderland last night, mate, have had a fantastic draw in what was an amazing game of football. I mean, watching it as a neutral, hoping that Arsenal would win 4-0 so I didn't have to listen to you rant this morning. But honestly, Sunderland just keep finding a way. And we were talking about this prior to the show, mate. Dan Ballard is an absolute weapon of a centre-back. If no one has seen the highlights of the football between Arsenal and Sunderland last night, please go and watch it. It was an emphatic performance by both teams, but Sunderland with just that never say die attitude. And I think Dan Ballard, for me, is man of the match and then some. But not only for the goal, Teddy boy, but for that save that he made towards the end. It was a fantastic game, mate, but also a little bit of trickery with the sideline boarding as well.
Yeah, well, we'll come to the advertising hoardings shortly because it didn't seem to affect our long throws. So there we go. Regis Priest was asked about it in the post-match conference, and he said, "Had they moved, I didn't realise it must have been the wind." So Regis is getting in on the sportsmanship as well. But mate, that game last night. Where to start? It was what an advert for the Premier League. Oh. What an absolute advert for the Premier League. First of all, you've got Dan Ballard, just pouncing on a loose ball, following up like a top end striker. Yeah. The first touch that was like Maradona, and then absolutely smashed it past the keeper. An absolute class goal from a centre back. Really, really good. And I think Dan Ballard, of all people, had that point to prove yesterday. Everybody was talking about Granit Xhaka before the game, and obviously an emotional game for him playing against Arsenal. He was there for 7 years. But spare a thought for Dan Ballard, who left that club as a youngster after kind of Arsenal deemed him as not good enough, to be there. And he absolutely dominated them. He got a goal, he got an assist, and he made one of the best clearances I've seen at the stadium, like in terms of just throwing yourself to block it. If he connected with a player, it was a penalty and a red card. Like, let's brush that under the carpet. No, mate, he was absolutely terrific. I thought to a man, I felt a bit sorry for Enzo Lefebvre, the mistake he made where it left them in for their first goal. Because other than that, Lefebvre has been doing his first touch again. I'm joking about the Dan Ballard Maradona thing. Lefebvre's first touch is incredible. He's such a good technical player, but he's also added a bit of nastiness to his game. He gets back, he tackles, he's a terrier. So I felt really bad for him. The mistake was made, and I think every Sunderland fan's kind of forgiven him for that. Just the same as we forgive Noah Siddiqui for letting Trossard in on his right foot. I actually said to Mrs. Ted when I was watching the match with that one, just they need to keep him on his left foot. As long as they keep him on his left foot, it's absolutely fine. He made a yard of space, taking it onto his right foot, and the finish was just It was exactly what you expect from like an elite class Premier League side. It was a wonderful, wonderful strike. But the old moniker of till the end is just proven to be the state of mind for the whole season.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the match last night, and I'm just knowing in there going, we're going to get a late goal because that's what we do now.
Yeah.
And to get it, in the manner we did, where Dan Ballard putting his head where he's in line to get hurt by doing it, getting the flick on. Robbie getting pulled absolutely all over the place, but to be fair, he is the Incredible Hulk. He's just so ridiculously strong, and to throw some acrobatics in there as well and get the goal. It was everything we deserved. First half, I think it was a very, very even game. We looked dangerous on the counter as we can do. The likes of Isidore was so industrious, and they don't get a lot of chances. He had a couple of half chances that were very, very difficult to put away. But he led the line, and it's something that we haven't seen from him. To be honest, he was strong. He was up against two world-class centre backs who, at times, were really, really rattled by us and the way we played. I thought everybody, Traore was another one where there was murmurings when he first started making appearances that he wasn't up to speed. I thought he was terrific yesterday. Absolutely terrific. He caused them problems down their left-hand side. He was strong. He held the ball up. He picked his passes well. And he's really starting to look like a player. Listen, I suppose we should talk about the advertising hoardings. You've got to use whatever you can to your advantage. Now,
and it started at Coventry, didn't it? I mean, we saw this in the playoffs against Coventry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it doesn't break any laws. Because we're not shortening the pitch or anything like that. We are just reducing the space enlarging the space between fans and the pitch as well, which I think is a great move for safety. Because we all love health and safety.
We do.
We do. I'm a big supporter of, big advocate. Now, listen, you've got to use little bits of sportsmanship like that. Yeah. It clearly worked because Declan Rice, he's got a fantastic long throw on him. But because of the distance he had, they were looping into the box rather than getting that sort of straight drilled long throw that he can do. However, Mukiele, our fantastic right back stroke centre back, had no such problems because I believe he has got the gun show. He just seems to be able to launch the ball with very little run up whatsoever. It's incredible, and it did nothing but cause them problems. And I'm so proud of the team's performance last night to take on a side that hasn't conceded a goal for 800 and odd minutes, by the way, and then we've stuck two past them, one being a centre back and one being a striker who's that was Brian Brobby's first shot in the Premier League. His first shot. That's a hell of a start, 1-in-1.
Yeah. Not wrong. Not wrong. Yeah,
listen, I think we do need that little international break now. As much as before, if we've been on a little bit of a run in form, I've maybe kind of thought we could have done without it.
Yeah.
Right now, we're still missing Alderete, who had he was missing for 2 games because of concussion protocols. Yeah. But then he apparently taken a little bit of a step back in training during the week, so he's kind of he's there or thereabouts, but he should be back in contention for the Fulham game after the international break. Who else? Obviously, Diarra, our record signing.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal fans complained saying, "Oh, our squad was too small last night." Our record signing and our first choice centre back was missing for that game. Thank you very much. We've all got problems. So listen, we've got that to look forward to. Mundle should be back in contention. We've actually got Romain Mundle there. Yeah, he should be back in contention for the Fulham game.
Can I ask about 09 as well? I mean, 09 is, in the Championship last season was incredible. I mean, it emphasises Sunderland through and through. Is he? I mean, obviously that shoulder you would think is close to recovering, if not recovered. But
he's back in the squad.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah.
He's been in the last 4 or 5 match day squads.
Okay.
He's how
Is he
can
unlucky
I
then?
put this? I don't think it's a case of unlucky. The standard of player that we brought
Yeah,
in during
yeah,
pre-season is it does mean that Luke is further back in the pecking order. It
yeah,
does mean that. But he's so important for that squad and what he brings to the dressing room and what he
yeah,
brings in terms of positivity. I saw a really good video when Jermaine Defoe came up for a game.
yeah.
And he was taking a tour of, obviously he played for us, he was taking a tour of the facilities that have all been updated and upgraded since the last time he played for us. And he was talking to Luke O'Nien, and Luke O'Nien's actually just about to do his UEFA B license. And to be honest, I would love to see Luke stay on at the club in some sort of capacity.
Yeah.
He's not going to get much in the way of opportunities, mate. Maybe rotate the squad for the FA Cup. And that could be somewhere where he can get some first team game time.
Could you see a loan? That's what I'm saying. I mean, we saw Alan Brown come down to Middlesbrough. He's been fantastic, by the way, coming down to Middlesbrough. Alan Brown is the first on our team sheet with his experience. I mean, at the moment, with the centre-back crisis we've got, I know he's through and through a Mackham, but I could take a Luke O'Nien from January onwards.
I think it would be a fantastic move for both. I really do. We spoke pre-season about this. I love Luke for the person that he is. He is Mr. Sunderland. Everybody loves the guy. But he's not a Premier League footballer. I know we haven't seen him play there, but we just know, certainly some of the things that he gets away with at Championship level, he just wouldn't get away with it in terms of VAR. I honestly feel that, if Borough fans have taken to Alan Brown, I think if you got Luke O'Nien on loan, the Borough fans would absolutely fall in love with him.
Yeah, I don't think
he will play anywhere. He will do anything. He's a grafter, and I honestly think it would be a terrific sign.
I think you need that at the Championship level as well, for sure. And I think he was outstanding last season. We even saw when he did his shoulder, he still didn't want to come off. The one thing as well, before we move on to Newcastle fans, we are going to talk about you. We have got a voice message here from Steve Wraith. Probably didn't want us to show it, but we're going to show it. And we're going to get
categorically will not want us to play it.
But I just want to talk just quickly as well. One thing that, we don't have a manager, so I can't talk about it. But one thing I've been so impressed about is Regis's calmness. And yesterday, an emphatic result and a 2-2 draw where you could be, I think, forgiven for him to say, what a result, and just get into it. But he came out and said this, it's just one more step towards 40 points. Does that not exuberate some sort of calmness where he's just like, oh no, we're just walking, we just want to stay in the Premier League. You're second or a third now, I believe. Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah, that's what you need. That's what you need, because his whole philosophy on what he's built for us this season was not to kind of, do what the Burnleys and Leicesters of this world did previously on other occasions in the Premier League, where they've tried to, play the same football they played in the Championship, thinking that'll be enough to keep us up. He's actually shown the Premier League a bit more respect by setting up very, very strongly. The thing that impresses me, and it's such an elite mentality to coach, it's so difficult to coach, and this is where we need to be worried, because other clubs will look at this and go, he can coach that. He's going to be on a few people's shopping list.
Yeah, 100%.
The way he coaches is in possession and out of possession. It's two different formations for us.
Yeah.
So out of possession, we revert to 5 at the back, and it just the midfield set up very much close to in front of the back 5. In possession, all of a sudden, Trey Hume tucks in like an inside midfield position. We broaden out and we become 4 at the back. And honestly, to coach that rotation, you are talking really elite level sort of stuff, to be able to not only to implement that, but to drill it into players who aren't used to that, who have many of them just come out the Championship.
Yeah.
So I sometimes think Regis doesn't get the credit he deserves from certainly from other quarters of the Premier League. We love him. Get him on an 80-year contract, and let's just keep him forever, because the football professor is just magnifique.
It is incredible, and I cannot wait for Regis Labrie and Dan Ballard at Real Madrid from January onwards. I tell you, it's going to be absolute scenes. Before we go on to Newcastle, we have got to talk about Newcastle. They are taking on Brentford today. We have got a message from Steve Wraith. I have got a little bit of troll of the week. Now, I do apologize. I don't have the cat playing the keyboard or anything like that, but I have got some trolls of the week and a few memes that I just want to float through here for Teddy Boy and for all of your reactions in the comments as well. We will get some comments after that as well. There are some questions there of myself and Teddy Boy, which we'll get to. Now, on the weekend, Teddy Boy, Eddie Howe, he celebrated 4 years. This was the graphic that Newcastle United released. Obviously, just simple. All right, they just put 4 years in front of him. And what it did, mate, is it opened the doors for every other graphic designer on the internet to come in and say, look, if this is the effort you're putting in, I can do better. Here's this attempt. Well done, Newcastle fan. 4 more years. He wants the job. Another graphic design opportunity coming in for this lad.
Lovely.
Graphic design is his passion, using PowerPoint there. Another Newcastle fan actually said it's actually this man who's the should be getting it. Jason Tyndall, the real first team manager down the bottom right there. Someone even took the Newcastle kit and said, hang on, it makes sense now. Which I thought was very, very clever. A couple of other memes as well for people to look at. And one that I need to bring up with you, Teddy Boy, is this is probably going to be for you, mate, very soon. I'm going to send you this book.
Wow.
Just to make sure, mate. Yeah, I mean, you're getting on. I'm looking after you, Teddy Boy. I've had this delivered in the mail.
Not wrong with me back and everything else is buggered, but
A friendly Uber driver here in Australia couldn't speak a word of English, so he's left this note in the back of his seat. He says, "G'day, mate. I'm a Japanese driver practicing English. Let's chat. But if I take the wrong turn, I'll blame our great conversation, smiley face. I'm training my listening skills, so if you speak slowly, that helps a lot. Thank you." Right. What an Uber driver, hey? Leaving that on the back of your seat.
That's special.
Now, I've seen some fans dress up for games, Teddy Boy, but this one takes the cake. This is a fan from the NFL. I have never seen that level of face paint in my life, mate. He's even gotten it all over the shirt, for goodness sake.
Good luck.
Imagine leaving the game after you lost that game as well. And last but not least, this one goes out to Teddy Boy, because I think when it comes to your birthday, Ted, I think this is exactly how you and your wife, your beautiful partner, would celebrate, mate. Just like this. When it's your birthday and Kat share a birthday, happy birthday, Molly. Oh, and Tim.
Yeah, that's perfect for me. Where is he anyway? Just nobody's Stelios just kicking around by this point. But yeah, I did get a few comments about Stelios as well the last time he joined in. Yeah. People say we should get a room. I mean, he is the star of this show. Absolute legend. But yeah, that would be a perfect birthday for me. Me and Stelios, a couple of cans, bit of cake. Perfect.
Oh, that is the troll of the week. Obviously, we'll have it properly back when Steve is back. But if you have got any trolls of the week, please send it to.
They were very tame.
They were very tame. I did keep it. I kept a lid on it this week. In fact, not to get us too cancelled, but Steve does his best to get us cancelled.
Absolutely.
We are going to talk, obviously, Newcastle. Let's just get into your comments. We love and appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Without Steve Wraith, we are covering, obviously, Newcastle, Middlesbrough, and Sunderland, always here on 3's A Crowd. We're live every Saturday or Sunday, talking, getting together, having a bit of banter and a bit of laugh. And we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, giving us a like and a subscribe as well. A couple of questions here from the crowd, mate. Digi obviously saying, that would make my Christmas if Wolves talks broke down. This goes hand in hand. Rob the Rat Edwards. Oh, yep, I completely agree with that. Astro says, I'd rather give it to Vivesh. No point changing tactics and the way we play. It's a good shout. I'm not too sure what Middlesbrough are going to do. Tufnell wants Mogga, a friend of Steve Wraith's, met him on a train once. Mogga to take charge for the 4 or 5 games while we scour the planet for a foreign manager who suits us. We're hoping that Regis Labree's got a twin brother. And this one from a Sunderland fan, he asks, what 3 teams do you think will come down from the Premier League? Obviously, it's tight race. I'll go first here, Teddy Boy, give you a chance to think. I think clearly Wolves, and I hope they come down with the worst points history ever. I'm banking on Wolves. And then honestly, I don't see. I mean, West Ham had a good win against Newcastle. We're going to talk about that very soon. I mean, is Nuno going to turn them around? I mean, I mean, let's lock in Wolves for me. Let's lock in. Jesus, tough, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
Nottingham Forest. I mean, Burnley are in there as well. Leeds United with Daniel Farke. Fulham as well. I mean, Fulham as well haven't been doing too well. I'm going to go. Here's what I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go Wolves, Burnley, and Leeds United. I'm going to say Leeds and Burnley get dragged down. Eventually, Nottingham Forest and West Ham manage to get above them. I just think they've got too big a budgets, too big a club to be able to outbuy in January. I don't think you can approach as quality a player as those two clubs could when Burnley and Leeds do it in January. And I think you'll see Burnley, Burnley, Nottingham Forest. Oh my God, I start to pick up. Leeds United, Burnley, and Wolves is my three. Teddy boy, what about you?
Completely agree with Wolves. I think they're gone. I really do. So yeah, Wolves for sure. I think Burnley will also go down. I think Leeds just have a little bit more quality than Burnley. So I think they might dig it out. Burnley are starting to do that thing where they're playing all right, but they're losing points. And once that sets in, mate, that's a long way back from that. So yeah, Burnley, Wolves, and I think Fulham. I think Fulham will get dragged into this. We've got them next at Fulham at Craven Cottage. If we pull a result out of that, I can see Marco Silva gone, and I can't see Fulham quite recovering from that.
There you go. There's our three for going down. Great question. Thank you for getting in touch. Another question here from Digi saying, I hope Robbie can get a run going now because he can be a star for Sunderland. I think we all agree with that. I think he's an absolute tank, and I think he suits the Premier League lifestyle as well. I think he's just got that build for it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I even think in the Championship he would, no one's coming down there as well. And this one here from Owen who says, the Sunderland were unlucky not to put a third past Arsenal. I got the girlfriend angry, I think. Shout out to you. Scary thing to do, Owen. You're a brave man getting the girlfriend angry, mate, on our behalf. But hey, you do what you need to do, and shout out. Hope that Owen's okay. We send out all our love and thoughts. Let's move on to Newcastle. Newcastle play today, Teddy boy. It's been an interesting week for Newcastle, given that loss to West Ham, mate, which was it shocked me. I mean, we all went down thinking they were going to go down to West Ham and blow them away. Well, the bubbles got blown. I tell you what, it was West Ham that would take the cake on that one. Then midweek we had an interesting performance. They still won in the Champions League, but they had very dire performances from a few of their stars and injuries to Anthony Gordon and the like. And now away from Brentford, I mean, Steve Wraith said this, and for those that obviously tune in, Steve Wraith, the Newcastle man, says, my heart says 1-1, but my head says 2-1 to Brentford. While I load up his voice memo, Teddy boy, tell me what you make of Newcastle's week and the thoughts that Steve doesn't think that they're going to get a result against Brentford.
I'll start with that one first because I was really surprised. We've done these shows together for a long time now, and I don't think I've ever remember Steve coming out with, my head says it's going to be a defeat. That's just not right. But because of we'll get to his voice message shortly. But yeah, I can kind of understand it with injury doubts, with the way they're just not travelling well in the Premier League. Going great guns in Europe, obviously, they look like they're well on the way to return in the Carabao Cup, but they just can't string performances together in the Premier League away from home, and it's against teams where they should be beating them. The West Ham one, we always joke on about the three of us all said it was going to be a win. We thought we'd lifted the curse, but no, the curse was very much alive and well. They end up getting beat, and to be honest, that's almost turned around West Ham's season because they did the same again yesterday where they went behind, come from behind and won the game. And that's sort of building a bit of resilience for them now. West Ham are only 2 points behind Newcastle as a result of this. And they're going into a game today where Newcastle sat in 14th, Brentford sat in 13th. There's 1 point separates them. And all of a sudden, this is turning into like, they've got to get the result here because this Premier League season could get away. The thing that Newcastle's got to, that Newcastle fans will be painfully aware of is the fact that they've got to qualify for the Champions League again next season because PSR kicks in and those signings you've made and the money you've spent, all of a sudden this starts to unravel. Now, I know through little bits I picked up in the media during the week, they're starting to invest in their academy. Obviously, taking a lesson from their neighbours down the road and putting money into the academy and developing younger players. But that's all stuff in the future. What's happening here and now is this Premier League season is going to get away from Newcastle if they're not careful. The injuries today is a bit of a tricky one. I still think they'll probably get away with a draw here. But these are games that, when we're looking at the start of the season and the start they made in the Champions League, you'd think they'd be blown side like Brentford away. All of a sudden, this turns into a mid-table clash where it's going to be, squeaky bum time, and very, very little to separate the two, to be honest. So yeah, do you want my prediction now, or do you want?
Yeah, go on. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to go for a ones each, to be honest. I think it'll be a scrappy one. I would love to say that Jordan Henderson gets on the score sheet for Brentford just to absolutely rub it in that Amackham's done it.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting game for me. And one thing that I'm concerned about for Newcastle is just their performances away from home seem to be dire. Away from St. James's Park, they really are struggling. And I think one thing that we've always spoken about is if you can win at home and draw, or at least away, you're going to be fine. Well, at the moment, they're not even being able to draw. And I think today, not only going to Brentford is it warning signs, but the performances of Anthony Elanga, I think, have been absolutely dire. I don't think they've gotten the man they thought they were going to get for 55 million or whatever they paid for him. But also Anthony Gordon is at risk of not playing today, as is Tonali. So there's some big outs for there. And obviously my man that I trust and believe, when it comes to Newcastle, is Steve Wraith. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what Steve had to say, as I do apologize. I'm playing it through the phone. Okay. I'm not technically gifted. Okay. But this is what Steve Wraith had to say about his performance today.
Morning, lads. Just woke up after I've been down to London for 2 days. Had a great time. Blake 7.
Stop. Hang on. We're good.
Launch yesterday at the BFI. Never been there before. Fantastic. And then I had a night out with the lads last night, which finished rather late. After that, with my mates who live in London.
We're in so much trouble.
Oh.
I've done the match today. So it's the injuries that are concerning me today. It's Anthony Gordon, although he hasn't been in good form, he's out. Sula out. We're left with Baltamada up front. If Newcastle play at the potential, lads, we can get a result, but it's a big if, and it's whether Jacob Murphy plays. He's carrying an injury, and we've also got, we're relying on Harvey Barnes. Obviously, we've got Ramsey coming in. It's such a concern. And bear in mind, I was at West Ham last week, lads, and it was awful. We're in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, and we've got 9 points in the Champions League, and it's almost as if we're focusing on them at the minute. We've got to pick our form up because the derby's on the horizon, and that's the big concern for me.
He's worried,
and I'm sure it is. Subconsciously,
he's got to be worried.
Newcastle fans, especially with Sunderland doing so well at the minute.
Oh, it hurt saying that.
Yeah, it is a concern, lads. It is a concern, but it's not a panic station's concern. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre scenario at the minute. It really is. But that's where we're at, lads. That's where we're at. International break. Hopefully, I'll be back after that. Anyway, I'm doing one of those pissed waffles, lads. So love you lots, and I'll see you next week.
We are dead.
We are so much trouble. We may be back next week, ladies and gentlemen, for playing that, by the way. Maybe the end of Three's a Crowd as we know it. But obviously, Stevie's had a big weekend. We couldn't get him on the Three's a Crowd. But honestly, it was very interesting hearing him talk like that, even though, he is obviously a bit groggy. He's really worried. He's worried about them losing to Brentford in a game that I would have ticked, a couple of weeks ago to be an easy win. He's actually very concerned. And as I said in his text message as well, my heart says 1-1, but my head says 2-1 to Brentford. That is incredible. I think I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. No, I'm going to go 2-0 to Brentford today because I just honestly don't think Newcastle can perform away from home, Teddy boy. And I mean, just before we wrap things up, we're going to do a Remembrance Day tribute here as well, given that, significance of that. But, are you, I'm more excited for the derby. Steve isn't.
I'm still nervous about it because it's the big one, mate. Of course it is.
I've never heard him say he's nervous.
Don't make no qualms about it. Those players, they might be struggling away from home at this point, but they will be drilled within an inch of their lives by people like
Yeah.
Dan Burn as to what that game means. So, it ain't going to be a walkover. But I do agree that some Newcastle fans will be feeling just a little bit more uneasy about it now. When we first came up, it was 6 easy points and all that kind of thing. And I was dreading it, to be honest. Now I'm kind of, I wouldn't say looking forward to it, but I'm less nervous about it. Let's put it that way. But yeah, getting back to with Steve, I'm very, very surprised that the head says a defeat. It says something about the situation right now in terms of the form, where it's causing them that sort of level of concern. They need a performance today. They need a big performance. If they win today, and going against what all of us have actually said, if they win today, everything's starting to look really, really rosy, and they're heading back up the Premier League again. Maybe take them a few weeks to try and overtake us, but they'll be heading up back in the Premier League's right direction again. Yeah. But one thing I must point out is I love Steve's enthusiasm for all things Blake 7. That's like to go down to London. Mate, he's fanatical about it. I love that.
Joke when we first spoke about it back on our previous show. But now I realise you don't mess with Blake 7 when it comes to Stevie Wraith.
It's what I love that as well, because we are a little bit nerdy, the three of us. Like we are. We've all got our little thing. I mean, that sounds weird. I've got my sci-fi.
I say I'm not, and I've got Darth Vader mask in the background here.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. It's that's one of the things that sort of galvanizes us as a little squad as well, isn't it?
No, it is good. And Christy Shepherd, obviously, to the Borough Aussie, I listened to your commentary yesterday. We're absolutely amazing, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the kind words. I love this comment. Hell's Bells, the two cheeky chaps. That's our podcast name. When Steve isn't here, we might be in trouble. And obviously, as well, the Sunderland fans saying Brentford win today, 3-1. Newcastle are poor away from home. And Digi with a good comment. Going to be a rough Christmas for the Geordies if they lose today. I mean, going into another international break, it could be very worrying signs. And we do hope that. That it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks for Newcastle if they were to lose today in the Premier League, because Champions League performing fantastically, but in the Premier League they really need to start picking up some points to climb up that table, because it's starting to get away from them, and they want to have Champions League football. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that brings us to the end. But before we go, we wanted to take a special moment, because it is something that is pertinent to all of us here at Three's a Crowd. It's the Remembrance Day, obviously, for those that don't know. It's a day to remember those that have fallen in battle and have served their country and continue to serve their country. We saw yesterday this fantastic show from Sunderland as well. Look at this for a picture as well for Remembrance Day yesterday at the Stadium of Light. That is just epic. And I think when it comes to the three bantering, the three differences between the clubs, this sort of stuff can bring us all together. Obviously, I am a veteran of 12 years. The reason that I got into all of this was because I was recovering from my injuries and stuff from suffering Afghanistan. Teddy Boy has got strong family links to the military as well. So we're going to sit here and we're going to play the last post, and then we'll have a minute silence, and then we'll wrap things up here at Three's a Crowd. We'll be back next week with Stevie Wraith by our side for a proper show. And we hope that you all have a fantastic rest of your week. Good luck to Newcastle fans if you are travelling down to Brentford today. Be safe. For the other fans, enjoy your international break. Middlesbrough are going to have a big 2 weeks and finding a manager. And Sunderland, we're going to try and get some players back on the park and enjoy their 2 weeks as well. We will probably do an international show, Teddy Boy. I'm not too sure if we'll do an international break show. We'll see. We'll talk about it in the WhatsApp, but we will get in touch. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Check out @Invictus, @Ted the Mackham, @NUFC Matters, or @Steve Wraith to get all of your three feeds. We have been Three's a Crowd. Teddy Boy, thank you for joining me as always, mate. We'll sit here and we'll play the last post, mate. Any final words, Teddy Boy, before we say goodbye to the masses?
No, just have a great week, everyone, and obviously, let's observe and show a little bit of little respect for our fallen heroes and comrades.
Thank you, everyone, for observing the minute silence. Thank you for the respect played. It is the Three's a Crowd. Thank you for joining us, as always. We do appreciate each and every one of you. And I love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back next week. It's bye from us for now. Take care, be safe, and as always, Three's a Crowd.